So what if 5 ancient songs weren't just separate poems, but were actually a map, a roadmap really, for a pilgrim's journey that traces all the incredible highs and the desperate lows of a life of faith? Well, today, we're going to follow that map, right through Psalms 81 to 85. And along the way, we're going to ask a really important question. What can these ancient songs possibly teach us today, about our modern search for justice, our deep need for hope, and that feeling we all have of wanting to find our way home? We're going to trace this whole journey in 5 distinct steps. It starts with this joyful celebration, then it moves through these intense calls for justice and cries for protection, all the way to this intimate, personal longing for God's presence. And finally, we land on this beautiful vision of total restoration.
Okay, so our journey kicks off with Psalm 81, and this one really sets the foundation for everything else that's coming. It's a powerful command to do 2 things: remember and rejoice.
Right out of the gate, the psalm just explodes with sound. This isn't some quiet suggestion. It's a command for loud, joyful, communal worship. We're talking trumpets, harps, the whole shebang. And this isn't just about feeling good either. It's a formal, scheduled act of national remembrance. So you might be asking, why the big party? Well, the psalm quickly connects this worship to history. It's a celebration that's totally rooted in remembering God's biggest act of deliverance, freeing Israel from slavery in Egypt. But then, almost out of nowhere, the whole tone shifts. God himself starts to speak, and it's this lament, this sadness over how his people just haven't listened and have turned away to chase after their own thing. And the psalm paints this picture of 2 completely different paths. It's so stark. On one side, you have the tragic reality. The people refuse to listen and were just left to their own destructive desires. But on the other side, that's the what could have been. It was God's heartfelt wish for them, a path of victory, of total provision, and just deep, deep satisfaction. It's such a powerful look at the direct link between listening to God and being blessed. So the crucial lesson from this first step on our journey is this. Real worship isn't just about emotion. It's grounded in remembering what God has already done, and our choice to listen or not to listen, that has very, very real consequences. All right, so after starting by looking up, the journey immediately turns outward. Psalm 82 gets right into confronting a world where things have gone seriously wrong, and it issues this incredibly powerful call for justice. This verse, this is the absolute heart of the psalm. It's a divine command. It's a standard that is completely non-negotiable for anyone who holds any kind of power. This isn't just some political suggestion, It's a heavenly mandate. And the scene that's painted here is just incredible. It's like a cosmic courtroom, this divine council, where God himself stands up to judge the judges of the earth. He literally puts all human rulers and authorities on trial for failing at their single most important duty. The message is just crystal clear. No earthly authority is absolute, period. Every single leader is accountable to God for how they treat the most vulnerable. And when they fail, the psalmist ends with this powerful plea. Arise, O God, judge the earth, basically asking the ultimate judge to step in and fix things himself. So, from injustice within, the pilgrim's journey now has to confront threats from the outside. Psalm 83 is this desperate communal cry for help in the face of just overwhelming opposition. You can absolutely feel the urgency in these words. The psalmist uses this really vivid imagery, like tumbleweeds or chaff getting blown away in the wind, even a forest fire, to ask God to swiftly and decisively deal with this whole coalition of nations who have conspired to literally wipe Israel off the map. But here's the thing, this isn't just a prayer for survival. The psalmist begs God not to stay silent, but the ultimate goal is, surprisingly, kind of evangelistic. The prayer is that through their defeat, these enemies might actually seek thy name, O Lord. The victory is supposed to reveal that God alone is the most high over all the earth. So after facing all this turmoil, both internal and external, the journey now turns deeply personal. Psalm 84 shifts the focus away from the nation's big problems to the individual's heartfelt longing for the presence of God. This is one of the most beloved lines in all of the Psalms. And just think about that for a second. One single day in God's presence is better than 1,000 days anywhere else. That's not just pretty poetry, it's a radical reordering of what is actually valuable in life. And this right here gets to the absolute core of the pilgrim's heart.
The journey isn't ultimately about reaching a physical temple building in Jerusalem. No, it's about reaching God Himself. The final destination is a person, a presence.
The imagery in this psalm is just so beautiful. The writer says their soul longs, yea, even faints for God. I mean, wow. And this deep longing is met with a promise. Those who trust in God will find their strength renewed for the journey because He is both a sun to light their way and a shield for their protection.
And here we are. We've now arrived at the destination of our 5-psalm journey. Psalm 85 is both a prayer for revival and this glorious vision of what happens when God fully restores His people and His land.
This is the stunning climax of the whole thing. It's a vision of total harmony. You have these 4 divine attributes: mercy, truth, righteousness, and peace, and they're personified as friends who meet up and embrace. In our broken world, these things are often fighting each other, right? But in God's restoration, they are perfectly, beautifully reconciled.
And look at how this unfolds. First, mercy, that's God's loving kindness, and truth meet. Then, righteousness or justice and peace kiss. It's like this grand reunion of heaven and earth as truth springs up from the ground and righteousness looks down from the sky. It's just a complete, holistic picture of healing.
You know, the psalm starts by remembering God's past favor as the very reason for asking Him to revive us again. It shows us that God's ultimate desire is to speak peace to His people, a kind of peace where there's no conflict at all between being merciful and being truthful, or between being just and being at peace.
So, as we recap our journey through these 5 psalms, you can see this clear and powerful progression. It all begins with worship, rooted in memory. Then it moves to justice in our world. It cries out for protection in times of trouble. It expresses a deep personal longing for God. And it all lands on the ultimate hope of complete restoration. And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. Psalm 85 gives us this incredible vision of perfect harmony. So the question for us today is this: what would have to change in our own hearts, in our communities, in our world, for mercy and truth to really meet, and for righteousness and peace to truly kiss?